Hello everyone! It is time for yet another review of a most anticipated movie of 2022, and this one actually far exceeded my already high expectations. Many of you out there know that I am a huge fan of 2012's Sinister. It's not just one of my favorite films of that particular year, it is an all-time favorite, and I think one of the scariest movies ever. Not much keeps me up at night anymore, but that movie definitely made me more uneasy than most. So needless to say, I was very excited for Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill to re-team with Ethan Hawke for another horror film. And wow, do they knock it out of the park again with The Black Phone. The movie is based on a short story by Joe Hill, and it puts the spotlight on a brother and sister growing up in the 1970s. Finney, played by Mason Thames, and Gwen, played by Madeleine McGraw. Kids are disappearing in town, and the blame is placed on a kidnapper who's dubbed the Grabber, and eventually, Finney does become his latest victim. Being held in a soundproof basement, all hope seems lost, but then Finney realizes that he can communicate with the Grabber's past victims via a disconnected phone on the wall. There is a lot of stellar work on display in The Black Phone, but I'll start with something that I really do think is of the utmost importance to the success of this film: Thames and McGraw's performances. Derrickson doesn't just get solid work from his two young leads here. He gets true breakout-worthy work that certainly suggests to me that these are two of the most exciting young talents out there right now. Finney is a mighty demanding role for Thames. Not only does he share some especially tense scenes with Ethan Hawke as the Grabber, but so much of this movie is just him in one room. And not only does he have to be the sole commanding force through a good deal of this film, but he has to do that in a way that both conveys that Finney is a smart and level-headed kid with the ability to fight his way through the situation, but also while showing enough vulnerability so he still feels like a kid in a terrifying scenario. And Thames balances both of those things quite well throughout this film. And oh my, is McGraw just delightfully fierce as Gwen in this film. She pretty much steals every single scene she's in. She's just got such a fiery spirit, and McGraw is an absolute ace at delivering these searing retorts when someone's threatening her and her brother. And yes, it is a lot of fun watching Gwen essentially be the best kind of bulldozer, putting bullies in their place and making sure her voice is heard in the fight to find Finney. But there's also this devastatingly powerful underlying heartbreak to a lot of her material due to their broken home and also abusive father. Whether Gwen is clapping back at some bullies, enjoying a quiet moment with her brother, or having a very heated argument with her father, you can always feel all of these life influences that have turned her into the person she's become and given her this fighting spirit that she wields just so incredibly well now. And speaking of which, one thing that really struck me about The Black Phone, especially in comparison to Sinister, is how heartfelt and even hopeful the movie is. Yes, this is a nightmarish scenario, but Finney and Gwen's connection and also the eagerness of the Grabber's past victims to help Finney fight is actually a very inspiring display of what even the youngest of heroes can do to combat even the most horrific of monsters. The Black Phone is a scary story, but it's one that is somehow brimming with so much heart. Before winding this review down, I do have to touch on some of the technical elements here because there is a lot of A+ work happening in this movie. First, that mask, designed by none other than Tom Savini. We often talk about the indelible impression a good horror movie villain look can make, and this is one that I think will transcend the screen simply because that design work is exceptional. And perhaps more importantly here, that design isn't just meant to look striking, it's also absolutely vital to enhancing this story. Basically, without ever spelling anything out, the mask conveys quite a bit about who the Grabber is and how he feels about what he's doing. Again here, This is a story that is largely confined to one single, fairly cold and sparse location, but Derrickson manages to make the absolute most of it. A lot of the time spent in that basement is all-consuming, of course thanks to Thames and Hawke's performances, but also because Derrickson knows how to create dynamic visuals and keep the energy level high through them. Whether it's a shot of a defeated Finney on the mattress or something that services the very, very well-earned jump scares in the movie, every single frame of The Black Phone has purpose, enhances the atmosphere, and also the chief emotions of the particular moment. And also, oh my, that score from Mark Corvin, it is packed with these deep tones that just absolutely chilled me to the bone. Just like with Invisible Man, some of you know this, I am willing to bet that I will likely be the weirdo driving around LA blasting this score with the windows down. It is really something else. All right, let's score this one. I am giving Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone 4.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. Listen, I want Scott Derrickson to scratch every creative itch he has, and I do very much like Doctor Strange, but what he's able to accomplish here with Cargill in this particular realm, in this genre, is just, it's masterful stuff. They just have such an impeccable sense of and handle on style, atmosphere, and scares, but they also very clearly place prime importance on character arcs and what these horrific scenarios mean for their characters. I do say this kind of often, but it feels worth repeating here. I am always down for an unforgettable looking slasher or a really clever scare scene, but it's the respect that Derrickson and Cargill have for their characters and the care that they put into their growth that I think creates this extra special connection between the viewer and the story that they're watching unfold. And that, to me, is what makes The Black Phone top-tier horror. All right, I feel like I can go on and on with this one, but I'm going to leave it there. Highly, highly recommend The Black Phone. Check it out, and then hit that comment section below and tell me what you think about the movie. Before I let you go, this review right here is due to a very special member of the Patreon team. It is Ian Wilder. Ian's like the horror master of Patreon. I try really hard to give him good recommendations, but he gives me a whole lot as well. So, Ian, thank you for all that. And also, thank you, but no thank you for constantly sending me things like shirts and posters and records that I can't help myself, I must buy. Seriously though, you rock, man. Thank you so much for being here. Big thanks to everybody out there for watching this review. You know what to do. Like and share it, and I'll see you soon with more of them.